Today we're going to talk about the 9 steps in setting up an efficient quarantine tank for success. Let's talk about it. Welcome back to the channel, guys, and if you don't know me, my name is Paul, and today we're going to be talking about quarantine tanks, aka QT tanks. But before we get there, if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please consider it, as that really helps me out and that pushes me along and motivates me to create the next video. At the same time, I'll do my very best to answer all of your comments down below. Before we push forward, I do have these new coral viewing glasses. They are made universal to fit everyone, and the purpose of these shades are to filter out the blue hue that's coming off your lights. And what this really does is give you the actual colors of your coral without that blue hue. So in a sense, this is how you're getting your corals to pop and really see their true colors. Again, guys, check out the description below if you'd like to consider supporting this channel through purchasing a pair of this. Why is a QT tank even needed? First off, you want to ensure a pest-free fish is introduced into the main tank. The last thing you want is to get your main display tank infested with this parasite that you brought in from a newly acquired fish. The second thing is you want to have a dedicated tank to where you can view the fish, monitor the fish, and also medicate the fish, and you're doing this all isolated. Now, before you even get to the QT process, I think the most important thing is to select the fish that is most healthy, one that you can visually see that is eating at the pet store, and one that doesn't really have any major pests that you can visually see on them. I think with a healthy fish and one that doesn't really have pests clinging onto them at the store already would have a higher success rate of going through the QT process and living through that, and then being able to be added to your display tank. So how do we eliminate the pest? First off, selecting the QT regimen. I mean, you want to understand what is out there, what is available today. You have copper treatment used for parasites, infections like ick and velvet. You can do freshwater dip for quick relief to the fish. Hyposalinity, lowering the salt level in the water, can kill certain parasites. Take a look at the chart of parasites that I'm posting up on the screen right here. And if you need to, pause this video and just look to see which QT process will be adequate for your needs. But for me, it just depends on the type of fish that I am buying and if they are hardy or not. But for the most part, I'll run through and do the copper and also the ProsiPro. All right, so here's my 9-step 40-day process for QTing fishes before introducing them into the display tank. Now, this does not get rid of 100% of the parasites and pests that's out there, but I'm pretty confident it'll get rid of about 60 to 70% of them. First 2 days, bring the copper level up to 2.5 ppm as I'm using copper power. I do highly recommend copper power or cupramine. I've used both, but I just like copper power more. So in this case, bring up the level to 2.5 ppm and test as much as you can or as much as you need to using the HANA checker. At least that's the one I'm using, and it's actually been working pretty well for me. I also have the API as a backup, but it's not as accurate as the HANA checker. For the next 14 days, you want the copper level to be at about 2.5 ppm. Monitor the fish, perform water change as needed. I personally like to use a sulfur ammonia alert right on the top corner just so I can have a visual glance to see what is going on with my tank. And if I notice that at the top of the water starts to have a lot of bubble, that usually tells me that I need to do a water change. Every few days I'll do water change, and that will normally help out with stabilizing the water for the fish. Depending on the type of fish, I may go as low as 2.0 ppm so that I'm not really stressing out the fish. But then if I go at that lower rate, I would extend the 14 days to 16, 17 days. After the 14-day copper, do 4 days of daily water change, 25 to 50%. And you want to test your copper level just to make sure it goes all the way down to 0. Next, 3 days, monitor fish health. And at this stage, I don't really do much except for just making sure that the fish is still eating and that they're swimming. If they're hiding out most of the time or most of the day, that means there's something wrong with the fish. He's probably not happy, he's still stressed, or maybe he's on his way out. Fortunately, it happens. The next 2 days, slowly add in ProsiPro. I like to use ProsiPro, but there's also alternatives out there. But for me, ProsiPro has been working pretty good. Next 7 days, ProsiPro should be at max level, and that should be it for the ProsiPro. Sometimes I do 5 days. It all depends on the fish and how stressed they are. But after the 7 days, then the next 4 days, do daily 25 to 50% water change to lower the ProsiPro levels inside the tank. The next 4 days, you're just monitoring the fish, making sure they're eating, making sure that they're still swimming around, not hiding all the time. I actually like to slightly overfeed a bit to make sure that they are still active and that they are still doing well. After the 4 days of monitoring your fish, and if they all look healthy, it's time to transport them into your display tank. Personally, I like to put the smaller fishes first and then wait a day or two and then put the larger fish in. That way they all can get along instead of putting the big fish in, and then he or she starts to become territorial and may attack the other fish when you introduce them in. So again, smaller fish first, wait a day or two, then the larger fish goes in. A 20 gallon, I think, is the bare minimum, and they are pretty affordable. They are very available at most LFS. In terms of filtration, I use nothing fancy, just filter sponge, and I have 2 of them. Get a strong and powerful air pump. I personally have one that has been working for a while now, and I have just that one, and it's powerful enough to supply air to an air stone and also to the sponge filter. In terms of lighting, there is nothing fancy that you need. Some people even recommend not lighting your tank. Personally, I like to light the tank so that the fish is in its normal cycle. There's a time for the fish to sleep, and there's a time for it to get up and move around. And then I just like to feed them daily, and I want to make sure they're able to see what they're eating. In terms of trying to keep the fish as stress-free as possible, you want to put in some dark PVC pipes in there, or some type of additives or rocks or something in there that will give these guys a place to hide when they are scared. I normally use PVCs, but for this last one, I didn't use much at all. I only have a bag of bioballs, and they will go hide behind that, or they hide behind the two sponge filters. That seems to be fine for these fish. In terms of medication, I use copper power and then also Pro. Occasionally I'll do freshwater dip and even hyposalinity. It just depends on the fish. For test kit, again, nothing fancy. Hanna, checker all the way. It's just more accurate in my honest opinion. API for backup just in case the copper reagent is out. And then I use the API ammonia test just to further confirm that I have no ammonia in my tank. That Salifert ammonia alert tag works, but once it starts turning slight green, there's already a lot of ammonia in there, and I usually try to make sure that it's solid yellow. If it deviates, I do a water change. Another key component that you need for this QT tank is a heater element. And you want to make sure that you get one that is appropriately sized for your QT setup. All right, guys, that is it for this video. I hope I explained to you my process in setting up a QT tank in 9 steps. And basically, it's gonna take some time. It's not something that's gonna be for 2 weeks unless you're only doing copper treatment. But even that, it all depends on the health of the fish. I personally like to make sure the fish is healthy before introducing it into my tank. If you have any questions regarding this process, or if there's something you'd like for me to cover on some more, please feel free to drop it down in the comment section below. I look forward to your comments and I'm happy to respond to them. Again, guys, if you haven't already subscribed to this channel, I really appreciate it if you would consider. Again, thank you for watching this video till the very end. I do greatly appreciate it. And I'll see you in the next one. Thanks.